Hi there.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to see you in person or at least on Skype. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Let's get to know you a bit.
Well, I'm a Singaporean. I was born and bred in Singapore. My mom is Swedish and my dad is Chinese. But living in Thailand. So I live in between Bangkok and Singapore,
Wow, it's incredible.
on the other side of the world.
Yeah, yeah. Which do you like better?
I lived in LA for a bit, for about 4 years, but I felt like it was really far from home. And I was pretty much born and bred in Asia. So for me, like, I think Asia is always going to be home.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about this like little phenomenon. You just like started being really public about your fertility journey and your choices with your family future. So tell us what made you want to do that?
Um, I think, women at this age, like I pretty much felt like there was a lot of pressure, especially I feel like in Asian culture, we're always taught to kind of like get married and have kids soon. And I feel like in this day and age, women want to work longer and women want to have a bigger career. And I don't know if it's anything to do with like maybe the food that we consume or the radiation that we're using, but it's not that easy anymore to have kids, and we it's a lot more stressful. We bear a lot more issues on our backs than what we used to. So, I think the reason why I decided to do it was mainly because I was at a point in my life where I didn't know what, where, when, how, or like when I was going to have kids or who I was going to have kids with. And, but I didn't really know I had a problem until I went to go get checked. And then unfortunately, the news came back that, I'm probably quite challenged in that way of conceiving naturally. So when the first time I got news that I had that issue, it was kind of a little bit of maybe a bit of an ego to me because I was like, I'm healthy, I eat right, I do everything I'm supposed to. So I went for so many different opinions about it until basically had a fourth opinion, and I just had to pony on up and just accept the fact that it is what it is, and decided that I would have to do it in Bangkok because I didn't have the options to do it back home in Singapore. And I guess that was just my way of dealing with everything, I think, because I spent the first 12 days not being able to, I wasn't allowed to exercise. I wasn't allowed, obviously you're not allowed to drink, and I wasn't allowed to stress that much. And so there's a lot of don't do's. So in that time, I was like, well, you know what, I'm gonna play around a little bit with like doing like a video diary of how my everyday was. And from that, I kind of gathered enough footage and I sent it to a friend of mine in Singapore. I would send him basically information and content every day, and he would edit it together. And we created this video, and it was a video to, in a way, show people what it is, and also in a way to kind of open up conversation and doors to people in Singapore and the right people in Singapore to kind of see a true story from a Singaporean that, would like to see that in the future that ban can be lifted for single women.
Yeah, so you're talking about how egg freezing is illegal for women in Singapore unless they have a partner, right?
Egg freezing in Singapore is banned for single women. It is allowed unless you are suffering from, if you need chemo done, then you are allowed to freeze your eggs before marriage. If you are married, you are allowed to do IVF after a year of trying, I think.
Wow.
So
That's
we have very
strict.
limited choices.
Yeah, that's very strict. Well, I
Yeah.
applaud you for being so vocal about, wanting to help shape that conversation and just talk about how that's like the whole benefit of egg freezing is that you're able to do it before you know who your partner will be. So if you're not allowed to do that in your country, well, then that definitely takes away the benefits.
Yeah, and I feel like for single women, it's needed a little bit more. And I felt like, well, I'm not doing it out of vanity. I wouldn't want to spend that much money out of just, if I didn't have to. I wouldn't want to be shot up with hormones every day and go through what I did just for vanity's sake. So I felt like I had the right reasons to do it, and I just had to maneuver in a way and work around it with my limitations. And so that was done in Bangkok, where I'm allowed to freeze my eggs, but I'm not allowed to take them out unless I'm married, which is a closer step to at least what I want. So
Wow, so you can't use your eggs and become a single mom on your own? You have to be married in
no,
order to use your eggs?
no, unfortunately, yes,
Wow.
you have to be married. You have to provide a marriage certificate to get your eggs out.
Wow. So did you look at any other places for egg freezing beyond Bangkok and Singapore?
Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of places I could have gone to the US and done it. But, at the end of the day, I wanted it to be also convenient for me. And, with the time difference and the traveling and all that, I also had to be in a place where I would be less stressed and more still. And I chose to go to the doctor every day to get my injections done. So, I took my second option, which was, I'll freeze my eggs. And I'm not saying I don't want to get married. For in my case, I do want to get married before I have kids. So I took that option, even though I wish we had more of an option to choose from. But that option did suit me better than what Singapore had to offer me. So I took the closest to home.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I have no regrets, making the video and putting it out there, because my ultimate thing was, if I have the platform to be able to do so, why not do it? And if you can't really expect any kind of change to go on if you don't voice to your country or your government what needs to be done. So
Yeah, no, that's actually a really great point. We in the States, we take for granted that we have so many privileges and that there aren't regulations like you're describing. And but even for cancer patients, for example, we don't have coverage or any kind of health care benefits that pays for any lifetime illnesses to save your reproductive system and to have those reproductive options. Now, some states are shifting where they are now covering those reproductive costs to either make embryos or freeze eggs before treatments like cancer treatments, but it's very limited. And you're right. And the only way we can change that is if we become the voice and tell our government what we want. So I applaud you for being so vocal and using your platform for good, because that's key.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about how the egg freezing process went for you. Did it go as expected? Was it everything you thought it was going to be? Did you do a lot of research beforehand?
Well, I've done it. To be honest, I didn't really do too much research. I didn't Google too much, because it's almost like I didn't really want to know. I didn't want to preempt anything, and I just thought, I'm just going to do what I'm told. And the first time I did it, I think it was because it was the unknown and I didn't know, and it was, but I had the best doctors and the best nurses there to help me. And but the first time was tough, because I think I didn't know what to expect. And, I did get affected a lot by the hormone shots. My mood was a little bit crazy, but I think it was also a lot of, not just from the hormone shots, but just emotional journey for me, because I never thought that I would have to do something like this.
Right. Or that you'd be in this place.
Yeah. So, which is why I'm quite happy that I managed to turn it around and make something good out of it, at least, But if you think about it, I mean, nobody's dying. It wasn't like nobody died, and it's like eye on the prize. And, it wasn't as bad, but it was more, the first time is always going to be the most shocking, because you just don't know. And then it's like a numbers thing. You're like, oh my God, you wake up and you're like, how many eggs did I get? Like, how many? And the first time I got 4, and then 1 premature that they grew overnight. And the second time, which I just finished a week ago, I got 7 eggs. But this time it was 3 mature eggs, and then the rest were premature that they grew overnight. So I have a total of 12 now.
12 eggs. Great. So you did it multiple times. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And And so did you feel like the second time you felt a little bit more prepared?
Yes, prepared in the sense where I kind of knew what was going on, but I only had a 2-month gap from the first and the second. And my body is so run down right now. It's still recuperating. It's been, this coming Sunday would have been 2 weeks since I had the operation. And I think because pretty much since from June until now, I've been going through this twice. So the second time, I think I handled it better, but my body was so beat. It's just so drained out. And it took longer to recover for me this time. But I think that would be understandable probably because I did 2 rounds in the last 4 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how old are you now?
I'm 36.
Okay. Yeah. So I froze at 33, and I felt that my when I froze at 33, it was a lot easier than when I froze at 35 years old. So I think age maybe has something to do with it too. But yeah, I mean,
100%. Like I'm quite sure that if I had done this, maybe even if I was 30 or 33, maybe it would have been maybe easier. I would have been able to knock it out maybe. But I don't want to say that because I had a problem from the beginning. So, I mean, there's a lot of could if, like what if and all that. But
yeah, no, absolutely. Well, any like lasting messages you want to tell others about your fertility journey and what you would encourage them to do if they're looking into egg freezing? Like especially people that live in Singapore and Bangkok?
Well, I think for Asian women, I can only speak for Asian women because I live in Asia. So I think maybe because of our culture and how we've been brought up, it's kind of very black and white, and life just isn't that black and white sometimes. And I think that women need to understand that it's okay to not be perfect, and we're kind of like all in this together. And the sooner you kind of jump on that wagon and try to find out more stuff about yourself, the better it is. And I think I could use myself as a good example that if you get this done a lot sooner, you might have less to worry about. And everyone's excuse is, oh, but is it painful? I don't know if I can do it. That's what everyone says. I don't know if I can do it. Like, you can do it. Like, we're born to give birth. We can have babies through our bodies. You can do this. And at the same time, like, if we are privileged enough to have enough money to be able to afford to do something like this, I feel like there's absolutely no reason why. I understand if people financially can't afford it, and I feel bad for them. I feel sorry for them. But if you are in a place where you can afford it, it's money well spent. And what is 2 weeks? 2 weeks out of your life just to put aside to at least make you sleep at night.
Yeah, protect your future.
Yeah. And it's also how badly do you want it?
Yeah.
You got to ask yourself that too. Like, that's a huge testament of how big of a step you take. If you're sitting there going, well, but I'm scared, and I think giving birth is very scary. Yeah. So depends how bad you I mean, that would be something to think about.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I think that's kind of neat how you put that, because you're right. If our bodies are made to give birth, then egg freezing shouldn't be that hard of a chore to do. Mm-hmm. And you're right. I mean, it's hard to know that as women we have to do this. It's another burden that's placed on us, right? That we have to plan for the family future. Right. But I also think that the amount of money that you spend now versus what you'll have to spend in later years to get pregnant, like after 40, you'll be thankful that you took the time now to protect it versus realizing later you really have this desire for motherhood and you didn't realize that it would be such a big decision and it'd be so hard to do. I think that's also a shock too. Right. That we see all these celebrities.
I think you don't want to look back and be like, what if?
Yeah.
What if I had taken this?
Right.
Because with things like this, the what ifs are not very good.
Yeah.
So if you have the money and, like surprisingly, I don't hear too many people that are doing it. Okay, yeah, we complain about how much it costs, but the first thing that comes out of people's mouths are, oh, but I'm scared. I feel like the only thing you need to be scared about is how much you're going to be spilling out of your pocket out of that. That's what's painful.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Well, how did you go about like finding your clinic and choosing where you're going to go?
I went to so many different places, and I realized it's a very personal thing when it comes to working with a doctor that's going to do this for you. Because, I went through a few different doctors, and one doctor, straight away, I was like, this guy has no faith in me whatsoever. And I just didn't feel good about it, and I left. And then this doctor got recommended to me by my business partner. Her husband happens to be a surgeon at this hospital. So I just said, can you just give me the name of the best gynecologist that's there, fertility doctor too. And so they gave me my current doctor's name, and I've been working with him now for the past 2 times. And it's amazing what kind of relationship you actually build with a doctor and he's great. He's lovely. He's very mercenary though. He'll tell you how it is. So, and he'll never be one to sugarcoat it. But he's never disappointed me. And I think for women, it's really important to work with a doctor, especially when it comes to freezing your eggs, that believes in you and that supports you and that can believe that you don't have to deliver the best results, but that can at least believe that you can try to do something about it. I think that's super important. Great. Like I've had the privilege too of being able to kind of speak out about this whole thing in Singapore with a professor, a very famous professor in Singapore called Professor Ase Wang. And he's a very well-known fertility doctor in Singapore. And so we've kind of teamed up together now to kind of create this movement in Singapore to try to lift things.
Oh, that's great. So you're taking more of a political stance to help change the rules.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes. He works quite closely with rather influential people in Singapore. So I think we've kind of band together, and we have the same goals. And he's obviously the more knowledgeable one and the most respected one in that industry. And I guess I had the platform to be able to just kind of stir the pot a bit. So it worked really well together for us. So we've been doing talks, and we're going to continue to kind of move on. Yeah,
that's great. Well, let us know how we can help in that mission, because that's some great activism that you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to do something that is non-profitable and just very heartfelt, and something that that a lot of people are going through, and so it's the first time I've done something. Yeah, it's something that I've done something that's just nonprofit, and it's the first time that I'm really feeling so passionate about being able to change something that means a lot to women in Singapore.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
It's been, and it's given me this boost of like encouragement myself to believe that, like, because before this I was like, oh, why does this have to happen to me, and it was a lot of why me, and now I'm like, well, I think there was a reason, maybe that
you're like using this
God
for good.
chose me for this to happen too.
Right. Well, and I think what's tough is that we think our life's going to go a certain way. And then when life doesn't, then we're always like, well, wait, how come so-and-so has the house and the picket white fence and the great husband or the partner to have kids with? How come I don't have that? And we play this comparison game. And sometimes the comparison game is actually more troubling than just, living your life and doing what's right for you and not playing that comparison.
And just accepting what has been put in you.
Right. Yeah. Right. Because I think you have a good point that, like, God's not giving us more than we can handle. And clearly there's a reason behind all of this. We just have to trust the reasons.
Yeah. I believe that this was put on my lap for a reason. And like all those why and all that had totally been answered right now. So,
well, you're helping so many women.
That, I do believe 100% that within time that Singapore I have faith in Singapore that they will be able to change this.
Yeah, especially if other countries show ways that it can be done better.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people get some of them might get a lot of the wrong impression. Also with, I'm clearly just wanting to tell my story to my government and hopefully in the future be able to work together to change this with them.
Yeah, that's great. Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
So encouraging more Singapore women to speak up too about it.
Yeah, I think
So I hope this
we have this band of egg clubbers, or us women. We can band together and join the egg club and talk about how this is actually helping our future and not be scared of it, even when it comes to like dating.
Yeah,
and stuff
no, I
too.
think it's great.
Yeah.
No, I think this is great. So yeah, I think we're definitely getting the egg club movement going on here.
Yeah, I love it. Well, this has been fantastic to spend a little bit of time with you, and we'll be following your journey, and I can't wait to see what's next.
I know. Well, let's keep in touch and update each other with how this journey goes for the both of us.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, we'll see you soon.
Yes, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.